All right, here we go. We are opening the Lost Caverns of Ixalan Commander boxed product, Explorers of the Deep. As it says on here, features +1/+1 counters and explore for lands and buffs. Super excited to open this. Thank you to Wizards of the Coast for sending this to me early so I can open it and preview it for you so you can know exactly what's in here if you want to pick it up for yourself. And let's dive right in. Brine and Punishment. Nice. Okay, so let's first take a look at the little envelope it's got here. Sometimes it says plain chase cards in it for other products. It's not in this one. That's perfectly okay. And we'll take a look at that in a second. Here is the box that you can house your cards in after you open them. We got to take the little life counter out here and push that together. And now we've got our box that will house our cards. As I mentioned before, these are big enough to fit the deck in sleeves, in most sleeves. It is unlikely to fit the deck and all of the tokens sleeved. So just something to note. And with many Commander products, they come with a collector booster sample pack. So this is just a couple of cards that are usually only found in the collector boosters, or sometimes also the set boosters as well. But this just gives you a little taste to see what you might get in those collector boosters. Okay. So first we've got Cosmium Confluence. Ooh, okay. Choose 3. You may choose the same mode more than once. Search your library for a cave card, put it onto the battlefield, tap, then shuffle. Put 3 +1/+1 counters on cave you control. It becomes a 0/0 elemental creature token with haste. It's still a land. Destroy target enchantment. All right, confluences are always cool. It gives you lots of options there, and this is the extended art. And a Rampaging Ceratops. Wow, that's super shiny. That's super foily right there. Can't be blocked by 3 or more creatures. Well, that's not a fantastic commander card, but certainly a great limited card. Here's the cool Magic the Gathering symbol there with the Ixalan treatment on it there. And on the back, we've got a number of these homogeneous tokens that you can use to indicate a number of things regarding the game, because there's a bunch of different types of counters. Okay, let's take a look quick at the insert before we get to the deck, which will kind of give you a bit of a story and some advice on tactics on how to play the deck. Nice. Now, if we're looking at the cards, we're going to use this little stand here. That way I can have these pointed at the camera at a good angle. We can get in there nice and tight. There's not going to be movement around. So let's do this. So before this, I just opened the Blood Rights Commander box product, which was amazing. Some of the reprints in there were just fantastic. So I think this is going to be tough. That's going to be tough to beat. But let's take a look and see what is in this one. All right, so we have the Commander Hawkball of the Surging Soul. Beginning of combat of your turn, each merfolk creature you control explores. Whenever Hawkball of the Surging Soul attacks, you may put a land card from your hand onto the battlefield. If you do, draw a card. Okay, so, it's doing the typical Simic-y stuff of putting lands into play, drawing cards, you're exploring. Seems pretty powerful. I also like that it's encouraging attacking here. So you're encouraging interaction. Yeah, I'm liking this. Oh, man. Zolatoyak. Zolatiak? The Smiling Flood? Okay. Salamander Serpent 6/6. When I just forgot the name. Zolatoyak The Smiling Flood enters the battlefield or attacks. Put a flood counter on target land. That land is an island in addition to its other types for as long as it has a flood counter on it. At the beginning of your end step, untap each permanent you control with a counter on it. Okay, so it doesn't even need to be a flood counter. It's just a counter. Well, that's interesting. Let's see, catch some of the foiling there. All right. Merfolk Cave Diver. Etherize. Deep Root Waters. Or maybe cast a Merfolk spell, create a blue 1/1 blue Merfolk creature token with hexproof. Okay, nice. Marrow, oh man, Regiri? Marrow Regiri? Okay, and some Merfolk callouts. Rapid Hybridization. Pretty good blue removal there. One of the best for Commander. Raven Form. Another really good piece of removal. Sage of Fables. Each other wizard creature you control enters the battlefield with an additional +1/+1 counter on it. Remove a +1/+1 counter from a creature you control, draw a card. Okay. Stony Brook Banneret. So I'm not quite as familiar with Merfolk as I am some of the other, types. So I might have to read some of these more than I would some of the other, other types. Beast Within. Nikonzel, Current Conductor. Whenever a creature you control explores a land card, you may put a land card from your hand onto the battlefield tapped. Whenever a creature you control explores a non-land card, put a +1/+1 counter on Nikonzel. Nikonzel. Okay, so that seems pretty good. Especially the first part, where you can just, if you draw land, just put it into the battlefield. Nice. Evolution Sage, classic. Explore, even classic-ier. Inspiring Call. Kodama's Reach, okay. Growth Spiral, well, we're hitting a nice rhythm here. Curious Follower, untap another target permanent. Okay, that's fine. I mean, counts as ramp, I guess. Or not ramp, but advantage, mana rock. Other Merfolk you control get +1/+1. Okay. When Merfolk Skydiver enters the battlefield, put a +1/+1 counter on a creature you control. Okay, and it proliferates. Tatiova. Oof, rude. I've played against many a Tatiova deck. Not fun. Or at least not fun to lose to. Arcane Signet. Commander Sphere. Simic Signet. Okay, but we're in green. So I'd prefer to see more land ramp, fewer mana rocks. Like, again, a couple of those are good, but more land ramp we need here, and especially with the Lands Matters deck here. Swiftfoot Boots, Command Tower, Llanowar Reborn. It's actually pretty good. I mean, it's this Graft 1 seems small, but it can actually have an impact gameplay in the right decks. Myriad Landscape, Path of Ancestry, Mist Dancer. Other Merfolk you control get +1/+0 and have flying. Okay, that's pretty good. I mean, that's almost a lord. Ripples of Potential. Proliferate, then choose any number of permanents you control that had a counter put on them this way. Those permanents phase out. Okay, we're not done with phasing, apparently. It looks like Wizards is, selectively reintroducing, phasing over the course of many sets over the past few years. We're seeing, phasing come back to prominence. Or actually, I should just say they're keeping it in the spotlight, right? They're not letting phasing fade from the spotlight. Wave goodbye to, and blue, return each creature without a +1 counter on it to its owner's hand. All right, that can be pretty devastating, especially in precons, if you're just playing with the 4 precons. Bygone Marvels, green, descend 8, which means you need 8, I think it's permanents in your graveyard. It's either cards or permanents in your graveyard. When you cast this spell, if there are 8 or more permanent cards in your graveyard. Okay, well, it says right there, it's permanents. Copy this spell twice. You may choose new targets for the copies. Return target permanent card from your graveyard to your hand and exile Bygone Marvels. Okay. All right. Seems solid. That I could see use for that. Deep Root Historian, Merfolk, and Druid cards in your graveyard have Retrace. There's an effect we haven't seen for a while. Retrace, which means you may cast cards with Retrace from your graveyard by discarding a land card in addition to paying their other costs. I mean, with this deck, you're probably going to get a lot of lands in your hand, so that Retrace is going to be useful. When Typography Tracker enters the battlefield, create a map token. If a creature you control would explore, it explores... Instead, it explores and explores again. Okay? So it's a replacement effect. Basically just, double explore there, pretty much. Tributary Instructor has Mentor. Never really thrilled with Mentor. I don't think Mentor is that great of an ability in practice. Whenever a creature you control with a +1/+1 counter on it dies, draw a card. Okay. Singer of Swift Rivers has Flash. When Singer of Swift Rivers enters the battlefield, put a shield counter on another target creature you control. You may cast Merfolk spells as though they had Flash. That seems solid. And it has Flash itself? Yeah, nice. Benthic Biomancer. Pay 1 in blue to adapt 1. Whenever 1 or more +1/+1 counters are put on Benthic Biomancer, draw a card, then discard a card. Okay. All right. 1/1 with benefits. I don't know. I'm interested in your guys' opinion on this card. Is this worth playing? Would you put this into a Merfolk or a Wizard deck? I'm unsure. Again, I don't play with a whole lot of Merfolk or Wizards, so. Coral Helm Commander. Oh, we've got Level Up. This is an interesting mechanic that we haven't really seen a whole lot of in a while. It can gain flying. At the top level, it has flying, and other Merfolk creatures you control get +1/+1. Okay, so scales well. Curse of the Swine. Great for a precon. You can really be a blowout. Emperor Mihail? Emperor Mihail? The second. We'll just say Mihail. We'll try to go phonetic. Emperor Mihail II. You may look at the top card of your library at any time. You may cast Merfolk spells from the top of your library. Sweet. Whenever you cast a Merfolk spell, you may pay 1. If you do, create a 1/1 blue Merfolk creature token. Okay, so they're really trying to rein in the potential craziness here by making you pay 1 each time for that Merfolk. So that's reasonable, right? Like that really evens out the card, I think. It prevents it from getting too crazy rather than just getting a free Merfolk each time. Herald of Secret Streams. Creatures you control with a +1/+1 count with +1/+1 counters on them can't be blocked. Ooh, that's pretty nice. Some nice evasion there. As Kindred Discovery, nice, good reprint. Kopala, Warden of Waves. Spells your opponents cast that target a Merfolk you control cost 2 more to cast. Okay, gives them all Ward 2. Nice. Abilities your opponents activate that target a Merfolk you control cost 2 more. So it's basically just giving your I don't know why they wouldn't. Well, from an older card, I was going to say, I don't know why they wouldn't just say that your Merfolk have Ward 2. Right? That would seem to simplify things. Master of the Pearl Trident. Other Merfolk you control get +1/+1 and have Island Walk. Nice. Good reprint. This is a reprint, right? I'm almost 100% positive this is a reprint. Merfolk Sovereign. Other Merfolk you can join +1/+1. Target Merfolk can't be blocked this turn. Man, they will love evasion. in this deck. Just absolutely love it. Reflections of Litjara. When it enters battlefield, choose a creature type. Obviously, you're going to choose Merfolk. Whenever you cast a spell of the chosen type, copy that spell. Whew. Copying it. That's pretty nice. Getting double your Merfolk, double your fun. Whenever a Merfolk you control deals combat damage to a player, draw a card. Wow. Banger. That's just going to refill your hand in this deck. With all the evasion they have, wow, this deck's pretty solid. Commit and memory. So this is an aftermath, which means you have to cast this only from your graveyard. So basically you're, in most instances, you're going to pay this once, goes to your graveyard, then you pay the other, play the aftermath. Surge Spanner. Whenever it becomes tapped, you may pay 1 in a blue. If you do, return target permanent to its owner's hand. It's pretty expensive. You're paying 6 to do that, basically, the first time, and it doesn't, have any type of evasion on its own. That one's questionable to me. Questionable. Svelyun of Sky and Sea. It has indestructible as long as you control at least 2 other Merfolk. When it attacks, draw a card. Nice. Other Merfolk you control have ward 1. Okay. Good. Solid. I like it. Thassa, God of the Sea. Nice. Is this the first time it's been reprinted? It was original Theros, right? I'm going to look it up later, but this is either the first time it's been reprinted or it's like one of the first reprintings, because outside of like a Secret Lair, I think there was a Secret Lair. Wow, that's a great reprint right there. Thieving Skydiver, love this card. Excellent addition. Branching Evolution, if 1 or more +1/+1 counters we put on a creature you control, twice that many +1/+1 counters are put on that creature instead. Okay. Nice. Nice. You definitely want that for your +1 counters decks. Whenever another Merfolk enters the battlefield under your control, put a +1/+1 counter on target Merfolk you control. Oh, it doesn't even have to be that Merfolk. It can be a different one. That's nice. You get a choice there. Hardened Scales, of course. Like, I hadn't seen the list of this prior, but really glad to see Hardened Scales in here. It belongs there. Realm Walker, it's a shapeshifter and changeling, so it can be a Merfolk. As in its battlefield, choose a creature type. You may look at the top card of your library. You may cast creature spells of the chosen type from the top of your library. So some nice potential card advantage there. Ruinous Intrusion. Exile target artifact or enchantment. Put X +1/+1 counters on target creature you control, where X is the mana value of the permanent exiled this way. So this is interesting that it's at an instant. Usually the type of effects that you would see like this are a sorcery. The fact that you can do this at instant speed is pretty impressive, honestly. Yeah. Cold Ice Elky, I'm a classic. I don't know, does this still go in Merfolk decks these days? It's fine in the precon. It's good that you get to draw cards. But I don't know if it still sees constructed play. All right, Kumena, Tyrant of the Orizaka. Tap another untapped Merfolk you control. He can't be blocked this turn. More evasion. Tap 3 untapped Merfolk you control to draw a card. Card draw, amazing. Tap 5 untapped Merfolk you control. Put a +1/+1 counter on each Merfolk you control. On each. And this is at instant speed? All of this is at instant speed? Wow. That's a little bonkers. That's pretty cool. Prime Speaker Zagana, love it. Prime Speaker Zagana was like one of the first like go-to Simic commanders. Like, why wouldn't you? It just refills your hand. Quandrix Command, all right, pretty good. I like that one. Lots of choices there. Simic Ascendancy, great reprint. and gives you the alternate win con at the beginning of your upkeep. If it has 20 or more growth counters on it, you win the game. Unlikely to happen in the pre-cons. Not impossible, but unlikely. But still, this is a great reprint. Awesome. Love to see that increased availability. Tashana, Voice of Thunder. Okay. I know that's a reprint. Vorel the Whole Clod. Okay, reprint. I've never been on fire about Vorel. I've known some Commander players that love Vorel. I am not one of them. I don't think he's that great. Zagana, the first Zagana, I guess, was too good, so they had to make another one that was not as good. Metallic Mimic? Nice. This is a great reprint. This works with so many decks. Love it. Okay, so let's get this out of the way. And look at the rest. Okay, we got Alchemist Refuge. May cast spells this turn with Delayed Flash. Awesome. Hinterland Harbor. Excellent. Karn's Bastion. Great. This card was getting more attention, so glad to see reprint there. Mosswort Bridge. Temple of Mystery. The Snarl. Again, great for a 2-color deck. For the Snarls. Reliquary Tower. I don't know. Yeah, maybe it comes into play with this deck. You're drawing lots of cards. Rogue's Passage. Secluded Courtyard. Simic Growth Chamber. Temple of the False God. Unclaimed Territory. All right, and we're down to the basics. So let's get through those. All right. And we're back at Hawkball, the Surging Soul. So let's take a look at this here. Let's try and catch the light on it so we can see the foiling. Fortunately, I've got two different types of light here. So I've got yellow light, like warm light over here to the right, and I've got natural sunlight, more of a cool light over there, so you can see how it looks with both types of light. And we've got a bird token, so let's move these over, and we'll flip these over. Okay, and a beast that becomes a merfolk. Frog lizard becomes a merfolk. Boar becomes a merfolk. Boar becomes a merfolk. Well, they really wanted to make sure you had enough boars for that. Great, there's the hexproof merfolk token for that Curse of the Swine. And map, you're definitely gonna want to have one of these in your tokens to bring with you, basically in perpetuity, because people are going to need map tokens. Copy. Yeah, they're giving you a lot of these merfolk with hexproof. And there we go. Well, I had my doubts with this box with how good Blood Rites was, the reprints they had in there, but I think this at least came close, if not being on par. Some really solid reprints in here. This deck's got a number of ways to win. Refills your hand, tons of evasion. Really appreciating some of those reprints. But you let me know in the comments. What do you think of Explorers of the Deep? Are you going to be picking this up? Let me know.